and welcome to another episode of the Franchise Academy. Just very excited to be talking with you today. We have a lot of great information coming your way with one of the greatest people in franchising, one of the greatest folks to mentor me in my early days. We're going to have Mark Titcomb on with us in just a moment. Want to let you know if you are thinking about franchising, what I do is match people with franchise opportunities based on skills, personality, goals, kind of like the eHarmony of business is what I like to call it. And I'm working with people all over the country, been doing it for 15 years. I've owned and operated franchises. My first franchise was a huge success, and that was in the smoothie business. My second franchise, which was a make and take business, you make meals, take them home, and cook them at a later time, called Super Suppers, was a miserable failure. And I lost a lot on that business, but that's what made me a franchise expert. So if you're thinking about buying a franchise, we should have a conversation you don't have to make the mistakes that I made. So today I have Mark Titcomb with me. Mark is a serial entrepreneur, great guy, super family, love his family. They recently traveled, and we'll talk about this in a couple of minutes. They traveled around the world for 8 or 10 months. So I'm going to get the details on that. But Mark has been in the franchise world longer than I have been, way over 20 years, owned and operated businesses. He essentially built with a great team a company called CertaPro Painters. Today he is with Floor Coverings International, a sister company, and just rocking it like crazy, even through the great pandemic of 2020. So Mark, welcome.
Thank you, Tom. Awesome. Love this.
Oh, so great to have you on. So Floor Coverings International, what do you guys do?
Thank you, Tom. I like to describe this in ways that I've seen it, even ways my daughters have described this concept to me, as they've heard me talk about it with others in my excitement, right? And enthusiasm for what we're doing over here. I'll never forget this. My 16-year-old daughter, Ella, said, Mark, or Dad, what you guys are doing is a lot like what Chick-fil-A's done. Okay, now she's a bit of a foodie, but when we're on a road trip, right, she'll insist we check out Chick-fil-A. Used to be Taco Bell, but she's gotten a little older. She's 16 now and a little more, discerning. So here's why, Tom, here's why she said Chick-fil-A. If you think about it for just a minute, what the fast food industry's done is they're on this race to the bottom, right? They're the dollar menu, the $5 footlong, which, by the way, I don't think Subway franchisees make money on those. It's kind of a loss leader. And if you think about it, as a consumer, our experience suffers when this happens, right? When things become commoditized and the value proposition becomes just price. Well, if you think about this for a minute, step with me now into home improvement and think about the last flooring ad you saw on TV, right? Or the last sticker you saw at Home Depot. They're always talking about price per square, okay? Now, not shocking, much like when you walk into a McDonald's restaurant or a Taco Bell or Burger King, you're not expecting it to be pristine. You're not expecting a great consumer experience like we have at Chick-fil-A. You're not expecting a great experience from Home Depot, right? So what we've done is we've turned that, like Chick-fil-A, on its nose and realized people buy from companies they like. They remember how you made them feel, right? Think about Disney. Think about these other concepts. They're really focused on the customer experience. That's their real product, okay? And I think Michael Gerber said that in E-Myth Revisited, right? So give credit where credit's due. So we've really done what Chick-fil-A has done. We've created a great experience in a space that's her home, our customers, women in the home. And so we're providing a fantastic flooring experience through creating this showroom in her home. Can't believe no one's done this. We've been at this 32 years. We still don't have a competitor that brings the showroom to her like Amazon has done, right? Yep. Make it easy, speeds the new currency, bring it to her on her time frame in her home with her lighting. So think about Amazon and speed and convenience, taking the friction out. Think about Chick-fil-A enhancing the experience we have with the need we have, and that's what we're doing at Floor Coverings International.
That's cool. I mean, and at the end of the day, it's just flooring. The thing that I
Yes.
always say to folks when I talk to them about FCI, because I do all the time, is that I've never been in a building that didn't have some kind of floor. So,
Right.
and then if you get into the commercial side, it even expands greatly, and they turn over floors like crazy. If you get a couple of
Yep.
hotels and things like that, I mean, it could be a great thing. Not to mention rental apartment complexes that every time somebody moves out, they change the rugs and they got to spruce the place up. So great, great stuff. And people always ask me, what's the hottest business out there? And it's not, the crazy cool concept that is, whatever bowl food or whatever, but it's a business that you got to get into. You can see the long term. Floors are not going away. There is competition. You have the Home Depots and your Lowe's, and you got your local fragmented mom and pop flooring stores. But FCI does it way different. And correct me if I'm wrong. Is FCI like the third largest buyer of flooring, right after Home Depot and Lowe's?
Tom, it's really incredible how huge the space is, right? It's about 112 billion. Okay, the numbers are larger than we can wrap our minds around. Yet, you take Home Depot and Lowe's, and the next 48 in size, right? We've got about 10% market share. So, where the industry grew 3.5% last year, we grew 7 times that. So you got your Home Depot and your Lowe's that have any measurable market share, and they're terrible at customer service and experience. And what you were saying, Tom, I'm just going to disappear here from the camera for a minute. Millionaire Next Door, right?
Yeah.
A book we've all heard about. Few of us have read. That's what I've found. But we've all heard about it, right? The concept of dull normal. Like, get into a business where you're not trying to do what Ben and Jerry's did in the ice cream world, right? They created demand for ice cream in the winter. Yeah. We're not trying to do that. Flooring's there. It's ubiquitous. It's everywhere. People are just looking for a better experience. So it's that dull normal, constant. They're building buildings with floors, right? Our inventory is being added to every day. And just do it better than everybody else. That's what Chick-fil-A did. People are going out for lunch. Just do it better.
Yep. So, Mark, what if I call up, my local FCI guy, and I do have him here on Long Island, and I'm like, hey, I want to get a new carpet, and then when he gets here, I say, well, I think I changed my mind. I want to go maybe hardwood or maybe ceramic tile.
Right.
Can he move on that, or is he like, oh man, all I have is carpet?
Tom, thank you. That is what has driven my wife and I crazy, and probably many people watching this podcast today is, you have, without naming names, you have some of these other concepts come out, and they'll have 6 or 7 samples, probably some coffee stains on them, You're not the first to look at these samples, and they can't pivot. We literally have a mobile showroom that brings 3,400 unique samples, never mind the area rugs we're doing, 3,400 unique flooring samples. So, Tom, if you want to pivot to a engineered floor, you want to pivot to a tile that looks like barn wood, we have it all. Yeah.
Okay. So I want to clarify that. So the franchisee or their employee goes to the person's home, sits down with the missus for the most part. Are they coming into the house, or is the person going into this mobile showroom that's like a big giant truck? I'm trying to get my head around that.
Right. And that, Tom, good follow-up. That would probably have most of our heads blow off our necks, right? If we were to try to take in 3,400 samples, and it's too much, less is more. So what we've got is we have an inspired sales system that helps educator collaborate. We call it Cocreate. So we're creating a solution with her. You've heard the platinum rule, right? Do unto others as they would have you do unto them. Too often things are being done to us in the home improvement space, right? We're doing it we're collaborating with her. So we're taking that time to really figure out and help her figure out what is it she's looking for? What is her budget, really? Does she have a champagne taste but Budweiser budget, right? Figure all that out and then bring 5 to 6 sample boards in, which is 50 choices.
Yep.
Okay, it's plenty. But bring 5 to 6 sample boards into her home and her lighting, her decor, and help her make her best choice.
Cool. That's great. So right now we're sitting here. It's the beginning of April. I don't like to date the podcast because they are really evergreen, but we're in the middle of this pandemic thing.
Yeah.
What are you guys doing now at FCI? And by the way, your boss, Tom Wood, the president of FCI, I know personally. I want to give props to Tom. He's really leading the organization in a really fantastic way and has been for many, many years. I mean, you guys started in what, 1998? Is that right?
Tom, we are 32 years old, which right? Being the franchise expert, right? You know how old that is in franchising world.
It is. Yeah. It is. And you have a few hundred territories open and operating. So Tom and I got our CFE, Certified Franchise Executive designation through the IFA together. So that's awesome. I know Tom for many, many years. Great guy, great family too. I've actually met his family when I was down in Atlanta. So what are you guys doing through the pandemic, and how do you see this working post-pandemic?
Right, Tom, thank you. This obviously has been a game changer for all of us. I mean, sequestered and sheltered at home, and it's come upon us very rapidly, right? Which honestly, there's silver lining with that. I'll come back to that, but it's come upon us very rapidly. So as we're in the middle of this pandemic, we are literally taking video right now of franchisees as they're actually taking it themselves, sending it to us, of the job that we've done as a franchisor to communicate with them daily, right? As this news continues to evolve and as we continue to adapt. Look at the SBA, right? Bank lending and how that's changed. I think 3 different times this week as to what the terms on the SBA loans will be. So we've been over communicating during the week here, during last week. We're getting nothing but compliments from our franchisees on the communication and the support as we're helping them reduce overhead, et cetera. Now, Tom, there's quite a bit of optimism. I'm going to now speak to those considering opportunity and considering joining a franchise. I will tell you something that a lot of people are going to think is crazy, probably, but having been through September 11, having been through the Great Recession, right, as a business owner, I can tell you, opportunity comes from times of uncertainty, because what happens is people delay. People are delaying right now, obviously, right? Some people are allowing us to socially distance in their home and get the Lysol wipes out and, present a showroom in their home. But for a lot of people, they're waiting. What's happening is there's pent-up demand, and we're preparing our franchisees for this surge as we expect and certainly hope that in the summer months, things will, we expect things will hit bottom in the next 4 to 5 weeks. We'll begin to see a comeback. And naturally in our business, the fall is our busiest season because of home decorating, entertaining. We're expecting a surge to add to this natural incline in demand, and we want to make sure our franchisees are ready for that. Yeah,
and that's great. And so I'm glad you brought that up, because I was in this same seat helping people find franchises during the Great Recession, 2008 through 2011, let's call it. And at the beginning, I personally was even a deer in headlights. I was like, oh my God, I can't believe the sky is falling. And I didn't know what to do. It took me 2 months to get adjusted, really. And then I had one of the best years I ever had helping people find service-based businesses they could get into. Because frankly, it's a dirty word out there, but there's ageism. If you were north of 45 years old, the likelihood of getting a job was near zero. So I had to help these men and women that were too young to retire, but not old enough to retire, and find the right thing for them. So a service business like FCI fits that mold perfectly, for the right person. We not everybody's a good fit for franchising, and not very many people are a good fit for FCI. So, we help them figure that out together. The 3 of us, me, you, and the candidate together.
That's right.
If this is going to be a good thing. But what I noticed is that a lot of people back then would say, I'm going to wait. I'm still looking for a job. Thanks for the call. Well, I'm going to wait. 6 months later, 8 months later, they call me up. Wow, I haven't found anything. Can we start that conversation about franchising? And what I learned now, I'm like, I'm in this. I have a list of franchises that are essential. We have things that
Yes.
are recession resistant. We have things that are now. I have a list of pandemic resistant franchises. But buildings are not going away. They all have floors. This is a great opportunity to learn about the franchise. We got this window of time where we have to be home anyway for the most part. Um, it makes sense to learn. If you think that your job might be eliminated, maybe it would behoove you just to learn about this option. And you may learn real quickly it's not for you. So anyway, I'm going on, but it's about
You're
you.
right.
So tell me more about what you want to explain about FCI.
Yeah, Tom. So, Tom, I'm a big believer in what Stephen Covey had said, begin with the end in mind, right? And always keep that saw sharp. And so as we're helping franchisees gather their wagons, develop and refine those better practices, leverage the network, prepare for this surge that's coming. Think about this, Tom. People are sequestered, sheltered at home. They're looking around at their flooring, right? And gravity happens. Malbec spills, right? We drop a can of beans as we're moving the groceries. Things happen to floors all the time. And it's why we're considered an essential service. Governments want folks to love their homes and love being in them a bit longer. So that's playing to our strengths a bit. And Tom, I'll add one more thing. Being a fairly competitive person, and I will say this, a person that enjoys, capitalism, right? And the things that benefits that come from capitalism. To be very transparent, thing I've enjoyed about home improvement, I've been in home improvement for 27 years, it's an uneven playing field. If you think about it as a homeowner, most of the folks we engage with in home improvement are good people at their core, yet honestly not sophisticated business people. Having been in some other arenas, fitness, food, real estate, those are fairly sophisticated spaces, okay? And you're going up every morning when you get up and you network and you drive your business, you're competing against folks just as skilled as you are. That's not true in home improvement. Okay? It's an interesting perspective, just one I've gained over time. We have competitive advantage inherent in the ability we have as business people and the way we think and the strategic visions we have for our business. And again, at its base, realizing people remember how you made them feel. And within FS brands, California Closets, CertaPro Painters, Floor Coverings International, and the others, we're very, very good at having developed systems that create consistent, positive experiences. Last year, we were 4.7 out of 5 on social media. Yeah. The flooring industry is 2.5 out of 5. Right?
Yeah.
It's brutal.
Tell me about your I forgot the name of it. The score.
Net Promoter Scoring.
There you go.
Yes. Yeah. And Tom, this is another thing. Like Millionaire Next Door, maybe Rich Dad Poor Dad, right? By Kiyosaki. These are things we've heard about. A lot of us have heard about Net Promoter Scoring, but don't really understand what it is. I was in that group even recently. Net Promoter Scoring is something we've leveraged, and it's, brands like Virgin Atlantic. Think about a great brand. I tell you what, they are creating a great experience for their customers. Think about Starbucks, right? They burn their coffee, right? Yet they're this huge brand. You walk Michigan Ave here in Chicago, and you'll walk 5 blocks, and you'll pass 15 Starbucks.
Right.
Crazy, right? Burnt coffee. But they do create a great experience for their consumers. So Net Promoter Scoring measures one thing. As a customer, would you refer Floor Coverings International, in this case, to your friends and family? Are you a raving fan? Okay? We're in an industry, you can Google this, we're in an industry where Home Depot, Lowe's, and the others, the few that participate with Net Promoter Score, most don't because they don't want to know how badly they're doing, they're running 30-35% for a Net Promoter Score, okay? Last year, we were in the high 70s.
Mm-hmm.
When you pass, as you know, Tom, when you pass 70, you're considered the standard.
Right.
Right? That's where Apple lives, Disney, Amazon. They live in this space in the 70s, and we're 79. So,
wow. Congratulations. That's awesome.
thank you. A lot of hard work.
Right. And I mean, that's a testimony to the leadership there. And your franchisees doing it. They're in the trenches, man. They're doing it. And they're
That's
following
right.
the system that you guys lay out.
That's right.
You have hundreds of years of flooring experience and franchise experience.
That's
and
right.
then,
Collectively.
Right?
Yep.
And then you have the network of franchisees that bring all different types of experience from their old corporate careers, only to make the brand even better because they're bringing in all these ideas and suggestions, and people like Tom Wood listen to those people and
that's right.
Incorporate it. So it's a great company. But I gotta, not to change the subject, but I have to ask you about all the medals behind you.
Yes.
So I gotta ask you about it. So tell me a little bit. What's going on back there?
Thank you. Yeah, Tom. My mentor, I actually wear his ring here on my right hand. My mentor was my grandfather, my mom's father, and he served in the South Pacific during World War II. There's numerous distinguished flying crosses, and the stories this man had, and he taught me, be humble, stay hungry, lean in, right? Try new things. One of the mottos I picked up from him and my father was carpe diem, seize the day, right? I always think of Robin Williams, Dead Poets Society, when I think of that poignant moment with Robin Williams. But, carpe diem, Tom, you mentioned this earlier, and I look to my mentors to credit for this, but they inspired me to be an entrepreneur, to invest in myself, right? Have confidence enough to invest in myself with great partnership. That's what franchising is at its core. And strive towards goals, dreams, I call them. Overcome your dragons to achieve your dreams. Dragons being fear of whatever. All of us can fill in the blank in different ways. But as you mentioned, Tom, back in late 2016, I was able to take my daughters with my wife, Karen. She planned this whole trip. And we traveled for 11 months around the world. And I do credit the greatest generation, right? Freedom is not free. And those around me that it inspired me that, hey, Mark, you don't have to settle for the career where you're working hard to build somebody else's dream. Because that's what we're doing when we're employees. We're building somebody else's dream, right? They pay us a fraction of what we bring to them. How about have that 100% output for your input, working towards your own dream? So that's what Karen and I committed ourselves to, and the core values represented with Norman Rockwell, right, the 4 freedoms, but really living a life that we could be proud of. Life's about how you're doing, how you do it and who you're doing it with. But having that year to be present, my daughters were 10 and 12, having that year to just be present, put that phone down, right?
Yeah.
And just be present. Girls, I think, are more sensitive to that than boys. That's been my experience. By having my daughters just recognize, hey, Dad's here with us as we're experiencing the Great Wall, Coca Canyon, you name it, right? Machu Picchu. Just, it's a big world out there, and it's hard to enjoy it and do these things in life that are so worthwhile when we're so busy working and trying to fit life around it.
Yeah.
How about plan to live and work around that?
Right. Your life is really, the moments in between all the stuff. And I think everybody is on a pursuit of happiness and not fulfillment. Unhappiness is fleeting. Fulfillment is forever.
Right.
And it doesn't come easy.
No, it doesn't.
As you know, I had a great government job before I got into franchising. I had to make that choice. And the choice is not what franchise to buy. The choice is the choice between uncertainty or unhappiness.
Right.
Most people choose unhappiness, and they continue with the nonsense because they're afraid to make that move. But there's no science to it, but I tell you, once you take that leap, magic happens, and it's unbelievable how the forces and the energy come around you to help you be successful. Experienced it personally, but you got to be willing to take that leap. And there's a great video, you can look at it on YouTube, by Will Smith, the actor, talking about skydiving. Watch that video. It's like 2 minutes, and he tells a poignant story about taking the leap. It's amazing. So I think you deserve it, and you deserve to try it, and nothing bad's going to happen. It's just a different road. You're not going to fail. It's just a different experience.
Right. That's exactly right. Yeah, Tom, as you know, the best franchise systems have very, very small failure rates. Yet, when we first consider going out on our own, which you're not doing in a strong, mature franchise system, right? You're joining a very skilled partner, and in that exchange, you pay them 5%.
Yep.
Partnerships, Tom, that you and I have been in, you're splitting things 50-50, right? So I've been a franchisee. I'll tell you what, I'll sign up for that every time. Pay you 5%, and you're the expert, and the failure rates are so low, and now I'm starting to work towards my own dream. Actually, the likelihood in today's economic times that you'll lose your job are much higher than the chance you'll fail running a franchise if you choose the right one.
That is so true.
Right?
Well said. Well said. And I think also to that point, it's not about the franchise, right? Like, you don't wake up in the morning. When I tell somebody, I think the best thing for you is a Floor Coverings International concept, they did not expect to hear that. They expected to hear Subway or something silly like that.
Right.
So it's not about, my passion is in flooring. No, your passion is about building equity in a business that's going to be around a long time, so it'll pay you the dividends so you could live the life you want to live. And you don't have to, put in for the vacation time and get turned down and miss your kid's soccer game because you have to be on a plane to Wisconsin to do some kind of presentation. Like that kind of stuff, your life is not in your control. You'll always have a hum of frustration in your belly, and it'll drive you insane. I'm talking from personal experience.
Yes.
And people,
you're right.
It's just fear, and it's fear for no reason. It's. I heard an interesting story I got to share with you. I know I do a lot of talking, but you inspire me, Mark. So I just read this week. I never heard this story before. You may have heard it. There's these scientists, and they're doing behavioral analysis. They have 5 monkeys in the room, and there's a ladder in the room. Top of the ladder, there is a box of bananas. So the monkeys are climbing up the ladder to get the bananas, and the scientists are squirting them with cold water. After a while, they just kind of give up. They're like, I don't want this.
Right.
And so they take one of the 5 monkeys out, put in a new monkey, and he right away goes right up the ladder, and the other 4 monkeys are dragging him down. Over the next 5 weeks, they replace every monkey one at a time. And now there's 5 monkeys that never got squirted with cold water, but they're all dragging each other down away from the bananas.
Yes.
That's what happens in our society. We're afraid to do something because we heard of somebody who knows somebody who had a problem in a business. It's crazy.
Oh, it's a great example. You're right. Yeah.
Nutty stuff. So, what's next for FCI? You guys have any plans in bringing in, different products or anything like that?
Absolutely, Tom. I mean, our drive is, the productivity of teams, figuring out ways to continue to amp up and increase the productivity of our franchise owner, their team, right? And one of the things we've identified as our great opportunity is average job size, right? I'll give you an example. Fitness subscription might be $400 a year, okay? It would take you 19 years with that client to have the same revenue stream that one of our projects equals to, okay? One of our projects this past year was over $7,600, okay? Divide that by $400 and you come up with 19. So one of the things we've identified is by bringing Area Rug in, by bringing some new services in, we're in the home, we're creating these serial decorators, right? These ladies that are falling in love with their homes again, not because they're about to sell them, because they're living in them, right? We're just taking that time to. California Closets started doing this within our brands years ago. Just help her fall in love with her closet, of all things, right? So really helping her fall in love with her home again. Now she looks around and goes, what else do I need to do? So we're leveraging that joy, happiness versus joy, right? Joy continues to give. So leveraging that joy and leveraging the fun aspect of helping her enjoy the process as well of having the new floor. So we're continuing to work on average job size. Tom, I keep coming back to this because it's so core, and you mentioned it earlier, starting with your why, right? People first work with you, right? Tom, you and I know this. They're focused on what? What should I do, Tom? What concept? No. You need to start with your why. Why are you interested in making this life change, right? And once Karen and I identified that, and we work on that a lot with our franchisees, what's your purpose? What's your meaning? How will you know you're living and working around it, right? Plan to live, work around it. How will you know when you've achieved that? That's incredibly motivating. So we're always working with our franchisees on dream achievement and using the business as the vehicle. It's not about flooring, right? Honestly, it's not even just about the income. It's creating a wealthy life where you have those life experiences. Life goes by like that, right? We all know this. We've lost loved ones. What are you going to do in the time between now and forever that has you enjoy and know you've lived?
Yeah.
That's a real passion of ours.
Yeah, really, really well said. And I think that you're right about the why. I'm reading Simon Sinek's book, your why, and it's very, very important about the happiness and fulfillment equation. And with franchising, the thing that I remind myself of, and I talked about it in my book, is I open up a business. You're creating an average of 20 jobs. There's 10 directly, 20 indirectly, and there's nothing more satisfying than giving somebody a job. They're going home and they're saying, honey, I got a job. I'm going to be able to put food on the table. It gives them self-worth, self-satisfaction. And you're creating something in flooring. So it's a really cool job. It's not just a widget, but you're doing the design, all of that. So that's what you got to think about when you're thinking about, why a business. Of course, you're building equity and you're going to sell the business for a lot more money down the road after your huge success of building it.
Right.
Yeah. Okay, I get that. But every day, helping people, even in a flooring business, you're changing people's lives. And then the one thing I wanted to mention also before I forget is during the Great Recession, we saw businesses like flooring actually scale up.
Yes.
People didn't go to Europe for 2 weeks, or in your case, 11 months. But people put a little into their home. They still got a little tax return, so they did new flooring and a paint job in their living room because that's where they live. And so it works as a recession-resistant or resilient type of concept as well, in my opinion, anyway.
Excellent, Tom. Excellent point. Yeah, absolutely. Like you said, there's videos on YouTube, actually, where Tom's being interviewed, our CEO, by Fox Business, and he speaks to the fact that we grew during the Great Recession, which blows a lot of people's minds. Yeah. But, Tom, that point you make, you got to start with your why, and then it really will help you narrow it down. Get off your hamster wheel, right, of life that we're so often on, and start really moving forward. It'll help you also choose the right business with your help. It'll help your candidates choose the right business when they're always focused around their meaning, their why.
That's exactly right. That's why I ask people to write for me a goal statement, which is simply answering the question, if 3 years from now, if we sat down for lunch, what would have to happen to your franchise? You could say, this was worth it. It was great because I did X, Y, Z. And it's not, you'd be surprised. It's not because I made $1 million and bought a Ferrari. It's never that.
Right.
I gave to my church. I helped my kids through college. It's that kind of stuff. That's what, when you really sit down, what really matters, right? So that's to your point.
It always does. And Tom, I'll come back to my 16-year-old Ella. You know, the girls and kids so often see things so simply and so clearly, right? She just looks at the craziness of life, and we'll get back into that soon enough, right? And she looks at these great concepts like Chick-fil-A, like Disney. You know, she's a girl. We've been to Disney many, many times, with all the princesses, right? But she understood, as we were talking about Floor Coverings International, it's how you feel when you're with these great brands, right? And Chick-fil-A is drilling that in their competitive landscape, right? They are wrapping cars around their stores. They have to have expediters now outside in the heat, keeping people moving, because they're creating a better experience. And Tom, whether it's Floor Coverings International, you represent brands that are phenomenal at that. You've been very judicious, and you know this, and I know this. I want the public to know this, at choosing those concepts that are really mature and proven in their ability to create a great experience for the consumer, their customer.
Yeah, thank you for that. Yep.
And that's along that path of a why, because you've got to feel good about how you're achieving the things that are important to you.
Right.
Right? By honoring the customer. Chick-fil-A franchise owners, or really franchise managers, and their team feel great. Disney employees feel great about what they're doing because they're there making people happy.
They're building it, yeah.
That's a powerful thing.
It's a really powerful thing. And there's nothing more important, especially if you're going to have a team, to make them feel like they're building something larger. And I remember years ago hearing a story. There was a bricklayer, two bricklayers, and
yes.
So what do you do? You know the story, like, so what are you doing here? What's your job? And one guy's like, I'm a bricklayer, and it was just a job to him. The next guy, he said, I'm building a cathedral.
Yes.
You know, and
yes,
that's that why. You know?
Yes.
So you could just be laying bricks, or you could be building a cathedral. It's your choice.
Tom, if you don't mind, I'll leverage off that. I just read this yesterday. Okay, this gentleman whom we all know said, "You find me a store clerk who has a goal. That person will become a legend."
Yeah.
Okay, you find me a person that has no goals, no dreams, no why. You found me a store clerk.
Right.
Okay, right? And that was J.C. Penney.
Yeah.
So, you know, there's what defines us and sets us apart and has us really living extraordinary lives, our goals, dreams, and not just dreams that are fuzzy out in the ether, dreams that are achievable,
right,
that we're driving towards, right? That's what you and I are here to help people achieve, that you and I have achieved, right? We've talked about our trips to Italy and other great times. It's these unique life experiences at the end of the day are all we have. That and relationships, right?
It's all that matters.
It's all that matters.
Relationships, that's all that matters. So
that's it.
That's great, you know, and our relationship is just great, you know, because we built a friendship through work. I mean, here you are, born and raised in the Midwest. I'm born and raised in New York. Two different types of cultures, and then we hook up and we're friends for, I don't know, 17 years or something like that now. So, so anyway, I want to thank you for everything that you guys are doing at FCI. Thanks for being on the podcast.
Thank you, Tom.
How could people get in touch with you if they want to kind of ring your phone?
Thank you, Tom. Yes, two ways. I'll give you the easiest ways first. My cell phone number is 219-916-9962. Text is best, of course, as it is for all of us, or call. And then my email is mark@floorcoveringsinternational.com. Tom, I appreciate you. You're doing great work, and I'll say this to the American public and the international group that may be watching as well. Tom, you've got terrific integrity and passion for your people, and you're a terrific advocate for the people you represent and their dreams, and that is not universal in your line of work. So,
well, thank
compliments.
Well, I appreciate that, my friend. Thank you so much. And you too. You handle everybody really well. There's never that feeling of I'm buying a timeshare, which is the biggest thing I get from people that I have put in your path. So thank you for that. Give regards to Tom Wood for me, and
I will.
And let's talk again, my friend.
This was fun. Tom. I hope it was of some value to the folks out there. Good working with you.
Thank you. God bless you. God bless your family. We'll talk to you soon.
Cheers.
Bye.